everybody, it's Crystal Weber here from Crystal Clear ESL and Fun Class. I'm really excited to be coming at you today with Teacher Brittney Makovic from, she'll get into what SOAR is all about in a minute, but we are also joined by some live participants who might share their questions and their own expertise with us. And we're talking about two topics today, really. The first being how a sort of established and successful independent online teacher made her start in our shared industry, and what tech tools, platforms, softwares have helped her out along the way. So you do not want to miss this session. Welcome, Teacher Brittney.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, perfect. So Brittney, why don't we hear it in your own words? Can you tell us a little bit about your journey into online ESL and how you got started?
Sure. So the year was 2018. We had, oh gosh, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we had like 2 5-year-olds and a 6-year-old. My math might be a little bit wrong, but we had 3 very young kids, and then our 4th child would have been like 7 or 8. So we had 4 kids like right there.
Yes.
I needed just a little bit. I was looking for just a little bit of, income. I was home with the kids, and also I needed it to, I wasn't going to be on, a live mic in the middle of the afternoon doing like customer service or something. We got screaming, yelling 5-year-olds in the house. So I saw a Facebook friend was doing this VIP kid thing, and low barrier to entry. I don't have a teaching, my college degree is not in teaching. I don't have a teaching certificate, so that kind of weeds out some companies. So I could get started. I passed the interview. I still have those recordings from my very first, like, trying to do a teaching demo 8 years ago. And oh my gosh. But got hired on. And so it was perfect at that time because I was done before my kids woke up. I did start like at 3 a.m. a lot of times because I just was booking, and it was very profitable at that time. So from 2018 to 2020, I taught over 1,000 students with VIP Kid, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I believe in 2020 was the year that, of course, the Ministry of Education, like, rules changed, and I was devastated because in my case, I didn't get to say goodbye to any of the students or anything. So it was like overnight. So pivot, looking for something similar, I guess. But what I went to next was Cambly Kids, which is another online ESL platform. Very similar, but a bit more loosey-goosey, a little bit less structured. Teachers have, in my experience, more freedom to kind of pull in different resources. I was with Cambly Kids for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, met a ton of new amazing students. Then I started ESL classes on OutSchool and did that for about a year. Was very successful on that as well. Have had many of the same students kind of with me along the journey. And then in January of this year, I went completely independent, and have been for 10 months and 2 days because I know it was at the new year. So starting with the VIP Kid, very much like, just tell me what to do and I'll do your rules, to now completely running the whole show independently.
Incredible. Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah, thank you.
So you didn't kind of scale up your independent teaching as you scaled down your contract teaching at all?
I didn't, but a lot of tutors that I'm, in community with, that's absolutely the route that they're comfortable with and they, want to go with. Absolutely.
Right. So my first thing that pops in my head is, do you feel that, the years that you spent in a contractual format gave you any skills or insight into that benefited your independent teaching?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because it's really the basics like of ESL. Like I had no prior training or education in ESL prior to being hired with VIP Kid. So the training that I went through there and just the experience, the repetition of meeting 1,000 different students, at least for a session. And so that's a lot of different exposure to behaviors and different scaffolding and parent situations, family stuff. It's just a ton of experience that gave me the confidence to, when I went independent, like I can do this. Like I could bet on myself because of all that experience.
Amazing. And how long did it take you to scale up to a schedule that you were happy with?
I've been happy a lot of the time because the families that have been with me, I learned that families aren't taking classes from you because they love VIP Kid, because they love Cambly Kids, because they love OutSchool, because they love whatever platform you happen to be on. They are taking classes with you for you. You are the prize.
Yeah.
You're why they're rebooking. It's not because of a huge corporation that doesn't know them. Um, so my families did follow me. A lot of them did. So I was in a decent spot to start, and then they, have given several referrals. So I've been comfortable for most of, I mean, really the entire time,
Right.
because also when a platform is not taking a cut, um,
Yeah.
my
You
income
want
went
a
up.
little more. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's important. Wow, that is really incredible. So going back to early days, January this year, what would you say were your worries or your first considerations or decisions that you had to put in place to get started independently?
The very first like mindset shift was about schedules, because on all of these platforms you do the same thing. You open your schedule as wide as you can if you're trying to maximize, your income. Like only take off when you can't teach. You open it as wide as you can, and then you wait for them to pick. And so you might have an hour gap. You might have one, just randomly, which keeps you from leaving the house or doing something different. Um, that thinking of way of scheduling of like me just being as available as I can, and then they get to pick and choose, was the first thing to like, wait a second, like shift once going independent, because that's not at all how I work now. Now, like these are my teaching hours, and they need to fit inside that, but rather than the other way around.
That is so tricky but amazing, because I think so
Yeah,
many teachers, especially those early days in their independent careers, are just, really reluctant to turn away the money, right?
right, right, right.
And they end up spreading themselves too thin. And I think this
Hmm.
industry is predisposed to that because the time
Hmm.
zones that are, accessible by teachers and online tutors vary so greatly. You can legitimately be working at 5 in the morning, again at
Right.
2 in the afternoon, again at 7
Yeah.
at night, and again at 1. And
Right.
unless you're setting your own limits, which
Yeah.
your case in point you can
Yeah.
do and it works, then yeah, you definitely can feel the burnout really quickly, right?
I would definitely say that was like a learned thing. And once I start to like really believe and know that like if this family is right for me and they want me, they will make it work, or we will, make it work between these two times. Um, because absolutely, like for years, I'm kind of a greedy little pig with my income, and I do like if I'm available, I'll work, I
Yeah.
just that way. So yeah, I did pull like 3 a.m.s to 8 a.m.s with VIP Kid quite a bit, and I loved it. Like I loved what I was doing. I was very happy with my paychecks at that time with that company. And so I'm like, this is great. And I'm done before my babies are awake.
Yeah, for sure, for
So
sure.
it's definitely changed over time.
So calendar and scheduling, did you manage that with spreadsheets or did you settle on a tool or platform for scheduling?
I use Google Calendar and just invite the parents to I have reoccurring sessions. So each student is at the same time every week. So they know my income is consistent that way. When people are like, well, that's a little bit inconvenient for me, no class that week. Just like anything, we're more likely to show up consistently when it's the same. You can make that doctor's appointment around when Johnny has tutoring. Um, so Google Calendar is what we use, and we really only need to really talk about scheduling in the beginning when we're figuring out what initially works, because otherwise it's just the same time and it's not really a big thing. I do use is it Calendly
Mhm.
um, for rescheduling. So I have a parent rescheduling link, and that is Calendly is linked to Google Calendar, so it knows when within my business hours when isn't booked. So if a parent does need to reschedule a class, they'll use Calendly to self reschedule a time that I am available.
Wow, okay. So you do rely on those automations to just speed up your admin time. That's really
Mhm.
okay. Anything else from those early days that you had to set up or put in place besides a calendar?
Um, we needed a payment system.
Okay.
I use Stripe is the best, and I also offer PayPal, but most of my international families use Stripe and have had no problem. Um, I do invoicing once a month. Um, Scheduling with that. Oh, every student has a Google Calendar, or I'm sorry, Google Classroom set up. And within the Google Classroom, I just have their reoccurring Zoom link um, that lives there. And so again, starting a Zoom link for them only happens one time. I have it no set date and reoccurring, so it's just
Yeah,
always a live link.
same. So no juggling links. I have a
Right.
question though. You started on VIP Kid.
Mhm.
Are the majority of your independent students based in China?
The majority are actually based in Taiwan, and they weren't from VIP. I don't have any students that
No.
I had with VIP Kid, but I do from Cambly Kids, which came after.
Are they
Um,
a China-based company or not
don't remember.
particularly?
I don't remember.
Okay. I asked
I'd say
because you
yeah.
noted Google and Zoom, and sometimes
Hmm.
there are obviously access issues for
Hmm.
because of the great firewall of China. So has
Yeah.
that been a limitation at all for
Mm-mm.
you?
No, I currently have students in China and a ton in Taiwan, and they've been able to access everything.
Oh, great. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
hit and miss, I guess, and maybe the regions where your students are located are
Hmm.
supported, probably Taiwan being a key with that outside mainland China. And it could also be that the ones who wouldn't be supported are using VPNs.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure I don't know, I'm sure they have a workaround. It's not my business. If you want to hire me to tutor your child, it's good where I'm at. So
Turn up. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You make it to class. Perfect. Okay. Are there any hardwares or softwares for for that matter that you kind of couldn't live without at this point?
Um, Now I have like quality wireless headphones to move around. Now I have a wall mounted Blue Yeti something mic that I like. And now I have a standing ring light. But when I started, I had headset which with a mic and a clip-on ring light. So investment sure was under $50
Right.
for just those two things. Um, but for sure a ring light, you have to have good lighting. You have to have good
Yeah,
lighting.
your lighting is excellent. And I think that, like you said, with online tutoring, it is a low barrier to entry because those things are not expensive. You can go out
Hmm.
and get some pretty basic hardwares that help you get started and
Hmm.
upgrade, as you've obviously done, as you establish yourself. So
Right.
it sounds like you made a conscious effort to keep your overheads quite low as you got started. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, absolutely. This ring light I've had for years. Microphone is new this year, but um, I pay for Google Workspace. Is that what
Mhm.
it's called? So I have like a business email. Um, just a little bit more professional, but it's not also totally necessary. Google Classroom is free. Zoom you can use for free, up to a point. I do pay for Canva Pro because I do a ton on there. I've got all my student notes are listed, like linked in a Canva Sheets document. So to keep everything organized. Um,
I love Canva. I always say
yeah.
my motto is Canva is life. I use it
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I make games on there and uh, do all my notes. We do a ton on there.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of making games, Brittany is very, very generously given us access to a special game that she created herself and will be available in the comments below. So please help yourself and take a look at that little freebie. Do you want to tell us a little
Hmm.
bit about how that came about?
Sure. I just have a few ESL games that I sell on TPT. I have a TPT, Teachers Pay Teachers shop. And a lot of my resources are like reading based because maybe 40% of my students are exclusively reading tutoring, and then about 60% are ESL. I say ESL, but a lot of that is reading too. A lot of what we do might cross over, be the same curriculum, even if they're in Taiwan. Um, but yes, I make those games and resources for tutors. Everything's digital because if it's on paper, it does me no good. So I
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it to sell it to other virtual tutors. But yeah, that game is a conversation-based game. There's just like cute little questions and there's points and you have a winner. Um, I've played it with a ton of my students. So
Yeah, and it's all automated and super fun. So make sure to take a look. So I'm about to transition to a sort of new topic with Teacher Brittney. If anybody in the audience or participating in the seminar has any questions, now is a great time to interject about her getting, started independently and her tools and tech setup. Anything you want to add to chat or just unmute yourself, you are very welcome to participate. And if not, we will move on and talk about lesson delivery and engagement, which is a
we've
wonderful
we've
segment.
got one, Crystal.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got one.
Hi,
Yeah.
Lily. Welcome.
Oh, you're
We can't
no
hear.
audio for you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, how did you transition from teaching students on a platform to getting those students to move independently with you?
Yes.
I knew that I was leaving the the game of working for platforms. I knew that like I was all in, I was 10 toes down. This is what I was going to make it work. So I had no problem kind of burning bridges. Like I'm leaving, you know? So I just told my students, like, I'm not going to vanish on when that happened in 2020 with VIP Kid. It was heartbreaking. I would
Oh yeah.
never choose to do that. So, I'm not going to do what the many platforms would prefer, which is you simply vanish on families that you've built a relationship with. So I just told them, like, after this date, I'm no longer teaching on this platform, but if you want to continue tutoring, I think it was like an email. So I was fine with doing that and definitely learned that they were there for me, not because they're in love with this website.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Good question, Lou. Of course, it goes without saying, I think that Crystal Clear ESL and Fun Class wouldn't endorse this, but we know that it's kind of the way things happen. And I completely agree with you, Brittany, that the students are there for you anyways.
Yeah.
And there are, really tactful ways to go about it. And it sounds like that's kind of what you did, but I would never advocate that a teacher continue on with a platform where they're also taking students away.
Right, right.
That is strictly against the terms and conditions that they've signed when they started out. So yeah, I mean, we all learned when the double reduction policy was implemented how the game really works, and it's right. So
yeah.
Or to yeah. Okay, thank you for that, Lou. Good one.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's talk about lesson delivery and engagement. So, do you have any specific strategies or tools that you use to keep your students engaged in online settings?
I do. So I use this website a lot called Crystal Clear. I don't know if you've heard of it. I taught like 8 students this morning, and about half of them were on that. That's what we do with them. Or we do together. So Crystal Clear lessons. For a lot of them, I've got right now an absolute beginner. No letters, no phonics. How are you? Can introduce a little bit. So we're like on level 2, unit 1, lesson 3, is what we did this morning.
Yeah.
So those are great. Engaging, interactive, drag and drop, everything that you would like want from an ESL curriculum. And then, so he's on level 2. I've got a student on level 4. I think that's the highest kiddo that I have. I love Ellie.com. Also, ELLII. I use that a lot for older students, adults that I teach with. I think that gets updated regularly. I think it's great. Bamboozle.com is wonderful. I did pull, just in case someone's curious. Ellie is $14 a month. Bamboozle is $60 a year, is what I do. But absolutely good investments for me, because between Crystal Clear and Ellie and Engu, I do their like daily news articles because they're always real and current, but they're, safe for kids to read. I think between all of those, I can always find whatever I need.
Wow, incredible. So, how much time do you actually spend planning and resourcing each lesson, would you say?
This morning, my first student was at 5:30. I sat at the computer at 5:10, and I had like 7 students. So not a lot, because they're all like on a path. So it's literally always the next reading lesson, the next Crystal Clear lesson. If they're not doing either of those, like Ellie, I might just pull a different, functional English or whatever we're doing, but not a lot of time.
Amazing. And I think that's such a smart decision, because what a lot of independent teachers don't consider, I think, is that they're not only teachers anymore when they go independent, they're responsible for running their own businesses. So they can't go investing, like 50% more time than their contact hours just in planning and resourcing lessons.
Right.
And so having a curriculum where you know where you've come from with that student, you know what you're teaching next, and you know what's gonna, like, there's content to come, is such a load off of your shoulders. And I always say it leaves you the capability to like really hone the relationship and tweak your delivery to suit that student, and differentiate even, so that you're personalizing as you go, but you've got the sort of foundations ready-made.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's
yeah, really definitely. When I've got a student, I have an 11-year-old student who's kind of a high beginner. I'll do the same lesson with him as the same like Crystal Clear lesson. He might cross paths on the lesson trajectory with a girl who's, intermediate, but like that's where we are. So for her, we're like expanding on everything about pigeons, and she used to live in New York. And did you see a lot of pigeons? Have you ever seen Home Alone? And then whereas the other student who's more beginner, pigeon, like this is a pigeon, and that leaving room for scaffolding, definitely.
Funny. I love it. Okay, so I really want to know what's your youngest student and your oldest student currently, and how do you kind of go back and forth between them? Like how do you make sure that you're adapting your technique and delivery for the whole range?
Range is 7 to, I would guess, 38, but I don't know. She's I don't know. She's a mom. She's
Okay.
my age. Actually, I have 2 sets of child and mom that I teach both the child and the mom. They both started with the kid, and then could you teach me also? Or but for kids, I think, what do they need to know, like academically? A lot of their parents, like, why are they learning English? A big part is for school. So they do need to know like the different types of verbs and like the grammar things, so that it kind of more taught to a test or taught to a curriculum. Adults need to often, unless they're in school, are wanting just like conversational English, slang, functional, order coffee, talk about shopping, share a recipe. So I don't get lost in the weeds too much with adults on like grammar, things that if you don't work in English, you would have forgotten by this age anyway, even if you're a native speaker. So, yeah, that's a big difference.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure. It sounds really good. And in terms of your own growth and personal or professional development, how do you continue sort of learning and improving your craft as a teacher?
I'm as often as time allows, doing professional development. Right now, I'm in Amplifies, the company. They're level 2 science of reading, advanced science of reading, something training, professional development. I'm always getting new books. I just got 2, reading on the brain and a vocabulary book. But yeah, I'm always picking things up or willing to try a new thing. If I come across a website that looks like really promising, I'll try it on a couple of my students. And if I don't like it or they don't like it, no big deal. We just stop doing it.
Oh, this is, it gives me the shivers because it reminds me back, it brings me back to my own VIP Kit days where you'll remember how prescriptive they are about
Yeah.
lesson delivery and content.
Yes.
And it's so heartwarming to hear you say that you can try new things, that you can, adapt on the fly, that you can,
Yep.
Scaffold or differentiate student by student, because that would
Right.
have never been allowed in those contracted settings.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a huge blessing. And maybe one more thing that I had to like wrap my mind around is like if mom is good with the plan and I am good with the plan, like, professionally, and mom thinks, yeah, that sounds good. That's it. Like 2 people need to agree. Um, and then if kid responds to it or not, then we pivot. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
a lot of communication with parents, which I love because it's not one, you have it, 2, you just develop like real, you know, professional friendships or relationships or whatever with the parents, because you talk to them every week for 2 years about their kid, or a year, um, without like, you can say this, you can't say this.
Right. Exactly.
That's just not how relationships usually work with
Yeah.
adults.
But it sounds like you cracked the code for, you know, keeping the client happy and demonstrating regular progress in your student.
Hmm.
It is all about sort of customer relations at the end of the day,
Right.
isn't it? So, yeah, well done. All right, we've got time for 2 more quick questions. So I'm really dying to know what piece of advice you would give other teachers who are literally like 10 months and 2 days behind you.
Um, I would say that like, I would just encourage you again that yes, you can. Everything is figure outable. It don't think about like, I need a website, I need business cards, I need like all these big things. Like to start, you need a way to deliver a video, you need a way to accept money, and a way to talk with parents.
Right.
You already have email, figure out the money piece, which is not very complicated, and you already have a camera. So like
Yeah.
bare bones, you do not need a lot. Understandably, most people are comfortable like dipping their toe in and learning more, and then, you know, kind of doing that kind of thing. Um, absolutely. Like if you, it is very nice to be entirely in control, and like now it's an LLC, and like the independent contractor days are behind me, and I would have never predicted that I work entirely independently with 40 families every week.
Yeah. And
A
how
couple years
fulfilling that
ago.
is for you as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And flexible. So
Yes.
to end off, where do you see this world of online ESL going in the future?
I mean, I know, like, of course, AI is the big thing in the conversation. And while I think like my students' parents, which I have a experimental group of about 40 families on different continents, from Turkey to Japan to Canada. Well, they probably do dabble in like the apps and the, you know, there's a ton of English learning things. I know from their feedback that what they're interested in is us as humans and teachers, and that we can be responsive to their student, not just their answers, but like emotionally. Like I can see on a student's face if they're feeling frustrated, if they're like on the verge of tears, if they're like a slight confusion. Those are things that we can respond to. Culturally, we, you know, we have the knowledge of wherever you live, and parents value that. So I think we are not going anywhere. And yeah, I mean, your ESL, like you're giving students a gift of a second language, and playing a role in that journey of them learning that can never be taken away. And I think that's really special, because it will change, it opens doors for the rest of their life. So I think it's a great honor that we can play a role in it.
Right. I completely agree. And yeah, you're right. We're not going anywhere. English is increasingly, you know, the or a world language.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we're each carving our own path. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Teacher Brittney, and everybody who's joined today. I had hoped to take more questions in a seminar format, but it's a bit of a mixed blessing that we've run out of time for that, because I would love for those questions to appear in the thread below. So please go ahead and post them, and we will receive notifications to respond in the thread. I know that, for example, we've already had one about marketing that will follow up at a later date. So this will be on the
Okay, I'll be sure to respond to you, Lou.
Yeah, for
I'll be
sure.
sure to get you.
This will be on the Crystal Clear ESL YouTube, as well as Fun Class. And don't forget about Teacher Brittney's generous game. She's going to put the link into the comments as well. And thanks for joining us. See you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.